Kids, today we're going to learn how to sepia tone or brown tone our prints. It's a fun thing to do, and it kind of reminds me of creating old-fashioned photographs. You know, a long time ago, Kodak and other manufacturers used to make papers that actually had a warm tone to them. You can still get, Ilford still makes one, but it's mild. So we need to use a toner to actually create that color shift going from a neutral to more of a brown toner. There are two different types you can buy. One used to be made by Kodak called Sepia Toner. Kodak doesn't make it anymore, but you can still get it through a product called Legacy. We're going to demonstrate that, and I'm using Arista paper because it works very well with this toner. So I'll show you the ins and outs of it. And then I'm going to show you a different toner made by Berg that's been on the market for a long time, and for some reason I never got around to using it, and I just recently experimented. I really do like this toner. The nice thing about it, it works very well with Ilford paper, which is the type of paper I use mainly. So we'll look at the Kodak / Legacy Sepia Toner, and then we'll also look at the Berg's toner, which does about the same thing but works very well with Ilford. Legacy Pro makes this. You get this through Freestyle, and it comes with two little packets here, a bleach bath, and then an actual toner, B. And so what I've done is I've pre-mixed the bleach into a bottle, 32-ounce bottle, and I've labeled it Sepia Toner Bleach First Bath. Put that right here, and then here's my Sepia Toner Second Bath. And I put that right there. So now I'm all ready. And then I have a third tray here, which is just simply water, because you need to wash the prints in between the bleach and the toner. So now I have a photograph that we made earlier for one of our lectures, and I'll pre-soak the print. I don't have to do this, but you can. And it's just plain water. And then I'll put it in this tray, and this tray now is going to be for our sepia toner, our bleach. So I'm going to open up and I did pre-warm this bottle. I stuck it in hot water. It just works faster. Otherwise, we'll be standing here for maybe 5 minutes because the bleach works kind of slow, but when you heat it up, it goes a little faster. Okay, so here we go. So I'll pour in the bleach. It's yellow. And we're going to start agitating. And as we start agitating, bleach is starting to work. When we do bleaching this way, we do it to the whole print. But remember, if I was to use rubber cement, I could mask off areas and only bleach certain areas. Different papers will react differently. So if you use a paper like Arista, works very well. A paper like Ilford, although I use Ilford for most of my printing, in fact all my printing, that is a little less responsive to this bleach and toning situation. So you'll have to experiment with your own papers. So it's starting to get a little bit lighter here, and I have a comparison print, so I'm just going to wash off the bleach here for a second. Wash this off, and hold it next to a comparison print so you can check it out. Here's my comparison print. You can see how the toned print, the bleach print, is lighter. And we'll continue with that process. Flipping it through the chemical. So if you have a dark print, you could give it a little bleach. It'll perk up the whites. At first it attacks the whites. Then it attacks the mid-tones. And then finally, if you keep it in there long enough, it will attack the blacks. So if you just bleach a little bit, then you could whiten your whites. So this is doing well. How about one more comparison here? I'll just put this guy here. It's our little comparison, quick one. The other one's not, it's kind of curly, but just shows you the difference in tone. One more little time here. The longer you bleach, the browner your print will get. So that's another little trick. If you want just a light tone, well, then you just bleach a little. If you want a deeper tone, then you bleach longer. Well, there's some edges here I can't see anymore, so I figure that's probably about as white as it can go. You know, you can buy potassium ferrocyanide from a place like Photographer's Formulary, and you can mix your bleach for different intensities. This bleach is sort of moderate, but if you want something more powerful, you could mix up your own. Okay, well now I'm going to give this a rinse, and this time I'm going to use running water. So I'm going to go back here to our little sink and put some water to get off all the bleach. I want this print to be free from all signs of bleach, because if you don't, the toner will not work. Now I should just point out something, an interesting fact. After I have bleached this print, I'm not sure how it goes, I think it's like this, I can go back into the darkroom and I can put this back into the developer and it will come right back, just the way it was before. Maybe with a little more contrast. So you can't go wrong, you can go back after this point. So that's cool. But once you tone it, then that's it, you're done. You can't go back. Okay, so here, now we'll go into our toner. Okay, so here's the toner. I've also heated this up a little bit and poured this in. Now, if you buy this Legacy Pro, you'll discover that the toner smells a little bit like hard-boiled eggs that have been sitting around for a while. It has a sulfur to it. This has been used by students, I can tell, because it's got some cloudy stuff. Usually when you mix it up fresh, it comes out perfectly clean. So here we go. This will happen quite fast. So we'll put this in, we'll see what happens. Kind of do it halfway here. Put it in like this. Keep agitating. And it looks like this was Arista paper, because it has kind of a wonderful, warm, chocolate little color. It's kind of like just the right amount of cream in your coffee color, you know, for those of you who partake in cream. After a short while, it's done. It's not going to go any further. And here's our Sepia Tone print using the Arista paper and the Legacy Pro, available through Freestyle, for which I get no gratuities from them, just to tell you how to get it. And then as a quick comparison, let's just compare those two prints again. Here's your neutral colored one and your sepia colored one. I am running my print through a RK print dryer. It's for RC paper only, and rapidly dries the paper using a little hot, warm air, and then it comes out dry on the other side. This thing costs $1,200. It's a lot of money. All it is a fancy hair dryer, which is what we used to use. Then we used to have in the back of the room clothesline with pins, clothespins. We would just pin them up. That was the good old days. We used to burn out hair dryers a lot because people would leave them on for a long time. And those were in the days back in the late 70s, early 80s, when men often had very coiffed hair, you know, it was all over the place. And so they used to use the blow dryers on their own hair too. Another reason that they burn out. And then they also disappear. People would steal them. We've looked at Kodak's Sepia Toner, and I like the Kodak Sepia Toner because of the two baths that it has. It has potassium ferrocyanide, and then it has the actual toner itself. Now, Berg's has a lovely product that also does the same thing, and it also has a bleach bath, that's one, and then the second bath is the actual toner. Here is the package that it comes in. It's called Berg's Rapid RC Sepia Toner solution, but you can use it with a regular fiber of paper. Now as I open up the package, I see little instructions, and they give you little tips on how to mix up the toner, and they also mention other toners they have, like selenium toner, brown copper, golden yellow, brilliant blue, and so on and so forth. They give you little secrets of effective toning, such as use fresh developer and fixer, which we should all do. Use a non-hardener fixer, which actually I do, and we do this at North Hennepin. And then you want to wash the prints well before toning, and then they tell you to do a little test strip, which I also do. They also tell you that the little bottles that come in the box, little bottles, which are about 4 ounces, each one mixes up into a large quart size working solution. So that's what I've done. I've already mixed this up. The nice thing about Berg's that I really like is their bleach bath, the first bath, works so fast that you don't really need to heat it up like the Kodak / Legacy version. So it works really fast. So let's do a little demonstration, and let me show you the print that we're going to tone. Here is the print that I'm going to sepia tone. You can see it right here. It's a picture of a tree, and it's almost, but not quite digital, because I shot it like 2 months ago. Developed the film, made a print within 2 months. That's a miracle for me. So, but I printed it up because I was testing a lens, and it looks pretty good. So I actually have 2 prints here, both exactly the same. One will tone, and then one will look at for comparison. So now let's direct our attention to the 2 trays that are in front of me. So I'm going to take my one print that I'm going to tone and put it here, and here's my comparison print right here. So here is our bottle of Sepia Toner, but I put Berg's on it just so everybody knows what it is, and then it's part A. So, and we're going to discover as I pour this in that it is not yellow like Kodak. Kodak's was yellow because it was potassium ferrocyanide, and this one is blue colored, which is kind of interesting. So I'll pour this in. Kind of reminds you of a pale blue. Now watch as this starts to bleach out. See, going pretty fast. Maybe even, dare I say, too fast. So wow, look at that. It's starting to disappear. That's kind of like life itself when you get old. It just kind of starts to fade away, disappear, and you become one with the heavens. Look at that. Off it goes into disappearing land. So now I'm going to take this print out, and I am going to wash it thoroughly so that all the bleach is off of it, and then we will go ahead and tone it. So kids, here is my bleached print, and as you can see, it got very light really fast, and I didn't even heat up the bleach. So I'll put it back in its tray, and now you can just kind of compare between the two. You know, in my regular photo class, sometimes kids bring out a dark print, and I say, well, why don't you bleach it using potassium ferrocyanide, the Kodak Legacy method. And that works very well because the potassium ferrocyanide bleach is, for Kodak, is very slow and gentle. And in fact, some photographers like Eugene Smith back in the late 40s and 50s, 60s, used a little hairbrush, and he would or a little paintbrush, and he would dip it in potassium ferrocyanide and lighten areas of his print that were a little dark, and it would be really hard to dodge. Sorry, this is an aside. Back to our print. So now you have a comparison now of the regular print with no toning, and then the bleach print. Now we're ready to turn it in, pour on the toner. So here's my Sepia Toner Berg's version, part B. You ready for this? Here we go. It goes pretty fast. I chose this photograph because I thought wood is brown. Photographers also use Sepia Toner to brown their photographs, especially when they want to do some hand coloring. The idea is that the brown earth of the world more matches the integration of the colors that you're going to put on top of it, rather than a neutral photograph, which is, you know, neutral toned, more abstract in a way. So brown toning then is one of the first steps that photographers use for their hand coloring. So there you have it. Now the only other thing I'm going to do with this print now that it's done is to wash it a little bit and then let it dry. So that's about all you need to do for your toner. That's the way I wash dishes at home too. Now let's do a selectively toned photograph. So I will use the same tree. I'll be using rubber cement. I already did most of it, but I'll just show you how I do it. This is a real schlocky version. It's, you know, you can do it, spend a lot of time and get it really perfect, but we'll just do a quick version. So here we go. Let's do a selective toned print. All right, so here's our photograph, and I already did a little bit of rubber cementing with this Elmer's rubber cement. And just to show you how, you know, it comes out, it's kind of goopy like this, and you simply apply it. In fact, it's actually a good idea to kind of apply it, let it dry, and then go over areas that you might have missed, because once you do the bleaching and then toning, you can't actually go back. You can with the bleach. If you just bleach a print and then go back and then wash it and then go back in, you can redevelop it. So that you can do. But once you tone it, you're stuck with it. So this is real schlocky. I'm just doing it real fast. Okay, and that area was done, and this is all done here. Oh, here's an area I forgot. Look at that. Don't want to be hasty. Now, if I was real smart, I'd get a smaller brush. But I'm doing this quickly just to demonstrate. Just a little bit here, a little bit here, and there you go. Okay, so there's rubber cement on the print. I don't have to wet it. I'll just put the print in here. Here's our original comparison, and now I'll get our Berg's Part A. This is our bleach, and you'll see when it comes out it's blue, and Kodak's bleach would be yellow. And as usual, it goes quite quickly. Now this bleach, notice how the tree starts to get light. I mean, if you were to stop now, that would look interesting. So, I mean, you know, it's kind of an interesting transformation. It's like suddenly the tree got hit with a radiated blast of energy. Look at that. Wow, that's cool. So you might have fun experimenting with this idea. You know, it'd be like if you have a group of people there and one person you don't really want to have in the picture. You just might use selective toning, just bleach out their face, and they're gone. There we go. Sweet. All right, now let me pour this back in the bottle. You know, this stuff's good for about 38 by 10s. Pour it right in here. I use this same pouring technique for martinis. And voila. And you can see areas that I kind of missed, right? Because I was doing this kind of quick. Now, I have to wash off this bleach. I'm washing both the front of the print as well as the back of the print. Make sure there's no bleach on it. Here's our print here, and it looks almost three-dimensional because of the aggressive white coming towards you and then the darker background. You're going off into a different direction than we would normally do so with our photography. Here's our Sepia Toner Part B, Berg's, and when I pour this in, then the tree will become brown. Ready? Here we go. And there you go. Cool city. So here we have our regular print, just regular, and then up on the wall here, I'll grab this, we have our print that's totally brown toned, and then here we have a selectively toned print, and you see how easy it is and how you just let your mind be creative, and you do all sorts of groovy things with these toners. And with the Bergs, you not only have brown tone, but you've also got selenium tone, which turns it kind of red, if you wish. And then there's blue toner, and then, well, then from there you just kind of let your imagination run riot. Now, once we're done washing our selectively toned photograph, we need to get the rubber cement off, and takes a little time. So I put the print here on a little towel and I blot dried it a little bit, and then I'm just going to take my finger and start rubbing this stuff off. And you go kind of slow, and it makes a little squeaky sound. And you know, if you've got calluses on your fingers, it'll make it easier. And as you rub it off, it just forms a little goop that becomes a little throwaway. Go, get. So you can see, so this will take a little time, but then once all the rubber cement is off, then I'd probably wash it again and then hang to dry. Or if you're lucky enough to have an actual dryer, you know, you run it through the dryer. But I wouldn't run the print through a dryer with the rubber cement on, because you'd get rubber cement all over the blades, the rollers of the dryer. So there we go. You see, I got rid of that, and now we still have to do this and this and this. So there you go. So you want to make sure you get rid of the rubber cement when you're done.